Okay.
That's it. We are live.
Okay. Hello, beautiful people. This is Moksha Coffee. I'm Rosna Milišić. This is Zoran Milišić.
Hello, beautiful people.
And Moksha Coffee is our live program where we talk about different life topics. And today I choose to talk about matrix.
Okay.
And but first question is not about matrix. It's about reality, actually. So what is reality, Zoran?
Well, it's depends how you want to really look at it. There is a false reality or illusion, and that pertains to this meaty experience of our soul. Okay, so we're in some form of meat, which is body.
Okay.
And we are intimately connected with that body through our nervous system, and then to five senses, sensory organs, right? So when we are talking about the reality, the question is which reality? The reality or the perceived reality? So the perceived reality is basically what we experience as our nervous system reactions, right? Or impulses of our nervous system. In other words, the reality we experience through our five senses. Okay, so there are many scientific proofs and even philosophies which prove that we are being tricked constantly and continuously by our nervous system and our five senses. So then the question arises, if that is not reality, what is the reality?
Yeah, let's first check that reality that you mentioned, because so that means that your reality can be different from my reality. We can see one same event differently.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Because I would go through my perception, through my feelings,
Correct.
right? And you will do that through your.
Yes.
So
So
that's actually you have so many different realities, right?
yes.
In that case.
So let's say there's at least 8.5 billion realities right
As
now.
much as there is a people on
Because
the earth.
why? Because there's 8.5 billion nervous systems,
Okay.
which are connected with 8.5 billion times 5 senses, right? So everybody perceives the reality as per their own nervous system. Okay.
And is that one of the reasons why it's so huge mess? Now, when you said that, I can imagine, like so many impulses, like it's bzzz, like everybody has his own opinion, his own reality, everything, and it's so much noise.
It is. I mean, you can literally prove it in an instant simply by observing the speed of light. Okay, so let's say this object is closer to you than me. Okay,
Yes.
so we're looking at the same object, and it is appearing to you quicker than me or sooner than me because you are closer to it, and the reflection of light travels less distance, right? So this pen, it appears to be a pen, okay, appears in your nervous system before it hits my nervous system because I'm double the distance than yours. Okay, so now we are talking about a subject, we're in the same time zone, right? But now when we are observing this object, we are in two different time zones.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's closer to me.
Yes, correct. So then it depends how you see it. If we are looking at it like this, then you may see it as a round circle with a dot, and then I may see it totally different, right? So it depends on the object. So the reality really is constantly shifting and changing, and it's dependent exclusively on the observer, not the object.
And that's the one thing, that's the one reality that you mentioned. You said there is another reality, which is another one.
There's another reality, which is that's the inner world.
Okay.
Okay, and that goes beyond the body, beyond the senses. right? So here's the experiment. Imagine, or everybody, you can imagine, just imagine, let's pretend it's possible at this moment, that you switch off all of your five senses, okay? So you can, let's imagine that you lose your eyesight 100%, your hearing 100%, your sense of taste 100%, sense of touch 100%, and so on, okay? So and let's say that you are completely devoid, oblivious from all these senses, right? Now the question arises, are you then dead or alive? So I'm asking you a question, right? So can you try to answer? Let's imagine that all your five senses are switched off completely, 100%. Okay, would you consider yourself dead or alive?
Alive.
Alive. And how do you know you are alive? You don't have any sense. You can't see, you can't hear. There's no sense of touch or taste or nothing.
I don't know.
Feeling.
Feeling.
You know that you are. So there's a big difference between perceiving reality through the five senses and knowing that you are. So that knowing that you are is the beginning of realization of the inner reality. Okay, but because we have to now analyze this I am or you are. Okay, so before am, I has to exist. Okay, so when you say I am or you are, we have a hook to identify with something, position, possession, role, body, and so on, okay? But prior to that, what needs to be satisfied before I can even say am, I has to exist, okay? So what is then I? That is your reality, okay? That is I, or universal consciousness, or cosmic intelligence in its purest form, okay? In scriptures, they would call that Atma, okay? And the one who realized I is the Atman, okay? So, and that is the reality. So that goes beyond all the senses, all the body, all positions, possessions, matter, beyond this planet, beyond this universe, beyond all dimension. It is the non-dimensional state, and that is the I. And that precludes everything, and that comes prior to consciousness.
Okay, but then Zoran, there is a lot of people, there are many of us that we are not in that state, actually, that some people are, they're not at all aware of that I.
That is
some
correct.
People, they're just starting to be aware, but the process to actually really fully feel that, you need probably time, and because it's not easy.
You need time to relinquish the patterns, the conditioning, because by repeating one same old thing so many times, you are creating nervous synapses in your brain, right? And it is sometimes very hard to jump out of it and then see the reality for what it is. It is hard because we are intimately linked with this meaty experience, which is my body, and we are intimately linked with the nervous system, okay? And we receive through nervous system not only the sense of reality, but we're also receiving all sorts of impulses and pains and memory of the past actions as well, okay? So then that forms a number of inclinations, personalities, patterns that bind us in a particular way of functioning, okay? But one thing that has always been there. And I always say before all beginnings and after all endings is the I, the Atman. Okay, so it is the silent observer. It is the observer of the observer.
Yeah.
And this is basically why we are talking about the subject matrix,
Yeah.
because
can you just let me share one short story? I'm not sure if that's connected to this, but my feeling that it is connected. When I was quite young, in my maybe early 20s, I went out with some friends, and my best friend was there. So there was a club, there was a lot of people there. We were dancing, and not just we, there were everybody, all other people, they were dancing, young people. And in one moment, for some reason, I just closed my eyes, so I couldn't hear the music. Then I was...
Ears wide.
Huh? Ears, sorry. Ears. And then I was like, I was shocked, like, because there was no, like, then just suddenly I could see all that people moving.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't hear music, like, it was so funny, so different. So, like, I was, and then I started doing that, actually,
Yeah.
like, and then I shared that with some people there. So that best friend, Miloš, he could understand it, and he actually continues, like, with some other stuff. He said, okay, that's not, like, when two people are in the bed, if you exclude emotions, then what's that? Like, I said, yeah, but still. So that's something happened to me then. Something
point of realization. I had similar things. What I was doing when I was working in IT, we would sit at the meeting, right? And then I hated meetings because people who meet all the time, who insist on meeting and meeting, they're actually the people who don't know their job, right? So why would we need to sit and blah 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 forever? Just go and do the job, right? Why do we need to talk about the work and job? Just do it. And I was always frustrated with situations like this. So then, and in most cases, I knew how to do it, So then, just out of nowhere, the idea came just to switch off my ears. So basically, I didn't block my ears. That would be rude, but internally, I switched them off. I stopped perceiving meaning, and I was just perceiving the sound. Okay, so the conversation, I was perceiving it as a sound, not something meaningful, right? And then I would focus on the source of the sound, which is mouth, right? And then you would see how this movement of the mouth basically makes everything like a child's play,
Yeah.
completely ridiculous, So this is what I was doing. But another thing, I must have been about 16 or maybe earlier. During the summertime in Europe, when the skies were clear, I would go in the middle of the night. I would go on the top of the roof, and I would lie down flat, and I would spread my limbs and turn them towards the sky, and then I was watching the stars, right? And I was so intensely watching the stars that in one moment I lost the perception of the position in the universe, right? And I lost the perception of the matter. So all of a sudden I found myself floating in the middle of the universe and observing the stars as if they were spread right in front of me, not me looking above, And that was such a powerful experience that one thing that I noticed at that time, I didn't realize what was going on, but my mind was at the verge of collapsing because it couldn't stand that type of reality, because it was what I was experiencing. It was going beyond the limitations of the mind. So the mind literally tried to jump out of my head, you know. So I felt waves of energy in my head, and I knew that I hit something really powerful, but at that time, you know, I didn't know how to explain it, you know. So I always, you know, from those times, every time I look at the stars, you know, it reminds me of that moment, and it feels home, you know. I look at the stars, and it feels like I'm at home.
And so how is then reality connected to matrix, and what is matrix in all this story?
Yeah. Well, again, we are talking about the external matrix, okay? And
so can we say that there are two matrix? There are two of them, like the external one and the internal one. So there are two different worlds.
There are two different worlds. The internal one, okay, you can call it matrix, right? But it really pertains to your true reality, okay? To your infinite nature, to stillness, the point of peace, you know, soundless stillness and things like that. But the external one is basically what most people are referring to matrix, and the word has become popular after movie Matrix. And then also with the fact that a lot of people are in this world, in this age, they are going through the awakening phase, right? So they are understanding that what is being presented as reality to them is actually not true, right? So this is the kind of matrix we are talking about. So it is the one that is perceived on the outside of us, and then that, you know, begs many questions. You know, once when you realize that what is presented to us is just like a script that's being played out.
But how can you explain that a little bit more? When you said what is presented to us, who presents that to us?
That's the thing. There is no person in this, right?
Yeah, but this is a glass, you know, like, so can you just explain it to understand? So this is table, this is laptop. What is presented here wrongly?
Okay.
Or that's not truth, or how to understand that?
Yeah, the thing is, it is presented because with that glass or object, you also have a number of identifications, right? And they are achieved through triggering an emotional response in you, okay? So then people identify with objects, and they get a sense of fulfillment or satisfaction or position, betterness, all these things, right? Not realizing that everything that they are seeking on the outside is already inside of them, right? And this is how Matrix is surviving, because Matrix primarily, I'm talking about the outside one, the world we are seeing and the reality that is presented to us aggressively through media, through opinions of society, or, you know, things like that. So there is a hook with the emotional response, and the only reason why the Matrix can survive is because it's drawing on the energy of human emotions. So you see for example, you look at the whole humanity today. Humanity has been reduced to a spectator, you know. So 8.5 billion people are watching a bunch of people deciding about their fate, right? And they've given their power, and the power is not ordinary power. There is extraordinary power of human being, because the whole universe is in us, right? So that power has been voluntarily given to the bunch of people who call themselves world leaders, and they are probably the biggest egomaniacs and liars and criminals and killers in the world, right? But they've given them their power in exchange for some sort of peace or observation of the situation. And this is basically how humanity is not living the life today. The humanity is watching the show, right? So when you are busy looking at your mobile phone screen for 6 hours or 8 hours a day, you're not actually living your life. You are observing how somebody else is living the life or how life is lived, and you are not participating in it. Okay. So this is basically one hook or entry point how Matrix is actually surviving in this world. So it is solely dependent on the human energy. So now imagine if all humanity took their mobile phones and threw them in the sea, right? Or if people signed out of Google account, right? So how would you then be able to control this world? There's absolutely no chance, you know. So that's why, for example, that matrix, because it's dependent on the human energy, it's creating the system which is exploiting human energy, but also instilling the fear. And the fear is not human, because fear is not our human nature. Our real nature is fearlessness. But the fear is being projected into us, and it's the fear of the matrix of being recognized.
Can I read something?
Yes.
This is from Matrix movie, actually. And I just like it, so I wanted to share. It's in actually in the text in which with our Moksha Coffee poster last that we announced. And it's when Neo asked, what truth? And Morpheus said that you are a slave now, like everyone else. You were born into bondage, into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch, a prison for your mind. And then Morpheus opens his hand, in one a blue pill, in the other a red pill. Which one would you take? Do you remember?
I don't know the color, but I would take the one to wake up. I think the blue one, is it?
Or I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I will not go through the text,
Yeah,
but because it said here that we are not free. And what is the freedom? When I ask this, it's actually connected to this topic, not about something else.
Well, look, freedom is when you realize the abundance and the nature of the universe within you. Okay, so when you stop feeding the world with your fear, with your anger, with your jealousy, with your violence, with the variety of existential fears, right? When you stop comparing yourself with others, and when you stop seeking recognition from the outside for your own being, okay? So this is then the beginning of the freedom, okay? So when you realize that the I, the Atma, is actually you, and that precludes everything. So we can talk about dimensions or systems or matrices or anything on the outside of us, but for that to exist, I must exist first. Okay, so that's why Matrix is trying to hide itself by presenting itself as a true reality, which is not. I mean, look at the world today. You know, you go on any news portal, right, and see what's happening in the world, right? It looks like some the dystopian story. Okay, there's violence, there's killings, there's death everywhere. Humankind instilling fear, death, destruction upon its own kind, you know, which is totally incredible, isn't it? Right? But 8.5 billion people are like spectators observing and not really acting.
Yes, but you know, like I remember when I was when I was working in IT, I was working in good companies. I had good positions and good status, and at that time, if you if you would try to take that from me, I would die.
Yes.
I would not survive. I was not ready at some point in the past to let go of that. And even now, in last like 5 years, actually, my transition was quite painful, actually, from, and there is also one thing which I recognize there. So because we are so much programmed, so what's then happened? You can't think about beyond that small job, or like if I'm IT, that's all I can see. That's all I can, because that's something which is you will repeat. You will find another job, but in IT, you can't think bigger because you are programmed. And that's there was a safe place for me. I could. I was successful, I was this, I was that, everything was known. I was stressed behind everything, but still, like I was living life that I thought it's a really good.
Life.
Yeah, it's like
reality, yeah. But that's the thing. The point of awakening is when you experience the outer reality to the maximum, fully. Then you can relinquish it. You can let go of it, right? So that's probably the only way to do it. But see, we've been programmed, not from early childhood. We've been programmed even before we came to this planet.
But there was one thing, Zoran, which I was quite I was quite smart. I could feel that I can't, that I'm actually walking the path which is, with the boundaries from all my previous experiencing and everything. So when it comes to the relationship, I was thinking, actually, I asked God, okay, can you please choose for me, because I'm really not good in that.
And you got me.
And I got you. So, because I knew that, I was not able to see maybe something which is really good for me, or it was same with the job, actually.
Yeah.
Just wanted to share.
Okay. But you see, I'll share my bit, right? When I saw you for the first time, I said to myself, how come I never got woman like this in my life, So that's a
big story.
So yeah, I knew from the very beginning, but beside the point, you need to realize when we are talking about the matrix, that matrix in itself is not an organ. It is a frequency which is linked to the time that we're living in. Okay. So the time and the dimension or the plane of living has a particular frequency, and all the matrix is built into it. Okay. And that's one point of understanding. The other point of understanding is that the matrix itself, because it's not a particular person or body, it's the I don't know, condensed energy, right? And by itself, it cannot give any energy. It's completely futile. It's completely hopeless and inept to give any energy. All it can do, it can draw the energy. Right? So by itself, it is completely empty. It is false, 100%. When you realize that, then you need to ask the question, so how is it surviving? So it's surviving by presenting reality. Let's say we have today wars and politics and the way of living, things that are set, and nobody's asking themselves, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? how long is this going to go? Or why am I saying this the way I'm saying it? Or why am I doing this and so on? Why am I reacting to this, right? The matrix is designed to produce with global events and also on the personal level reactions, your emotional energy, and it's feeding on that. Okay. So the way out of the matrix is not by rebelling, by trying to destroy it, because it's impossible. It's the way it is. It's almost like saying, let's try to turn the sky in green color. It's impossible. It's blue color, right? So leave it alone, right? But what you can do, you can stop feeding it. Okay? You can stop subscribing to it.
Okay, that's
And that is the way out of the matrix. So the only way out is actually in.
okay.
So you have to go in and start realizing your true nature, your true home, your infinite potentiality, your infinite reality. And you need to realize that life itself is you. There is no my life, your life, somebody's life. There's only one life. And even the God, the source, God, doesn't live the life. It doesn't have, does God have life?
Probably not.
Probably not. God gives life. God is life. Okay? God is energy, and God is you. So once when you realize that, that's the exit from the matrix. So you don't subscribe to it, you don't feed it, you don't engage in things that are presented to you as a false reality.
But you can't escape because it's a momentum of time.
Of course, it is the time we've chosen to be born in this time, to have this meaty experience in this matrix. But matrix acts as a great contrast to our reality, So you're looking every day at what is not. Okay, so then you have to ask yourself, then what is? If this is not, then what is? If this is false, what is true? Right? So everything that is in matrix is subject to passing of time. So the reality is false because it has beginning and end. But what is permanent is true. And that permanent aspect is you, the I, Atma.
And Zoran today is quite popular, like to say, oh, many people do that. I had similar ideas earlier, but not today. But people say, okay, I don't want to be part of this system. Maybe there are some people around who lives in the forests or something like that, so they can actually really escape this. But is it escapism if you do that? So is it actually that you're not accepting something?
That actually borders arrogance and selfishness, utter selfishness. Because you see, you look at the life of any master. Let's starting from Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha. His awakening, Buddha means awakened, right? So his awakening or enlightenment was to serve the world, was to serve the mankind. So from Buddha onwards, we had many enlightened masters and gurus and saints and avatars who were talking about the inner aspect, and their job it was to awaken the people. So when you escape the matrix physically, so you withdraw into off-grid system or jungle or cave, nobody has any purpose from it, only you. Okay, so the moment you overcome this world or the system, the matrix or the body, mind, all that, when you realize the Atma, I within you, then the only purpose of your life becomes a beacon of light, and it is your duty to serve as a beacon of light. And there is an aspect which is called non-doingness, acting without doing. So purely by abiding in your frequency of human being, true human being, you are spreading the light. You don't have to do anything else.
Yeah.
So you are then contributing to overall raising of the frequency of this world.
And for that people, I guess it's not important if they are in a caves or in the cities or whatever, wherever they are.
The frequency is enough, and this is your Morpheus. Okay, so that pill of awakening is offered by the frequency of the master, or the person who realized the I as the source within.
Yeah. But another aspect of that is actually when we normal people who are not reached that state yet, when we try to move out from the system, not to live in the system. But basically all the people that I know, they still live in the system. They're just all the time fighting, basically, with,
Yes,
I would like you to say something about it, just for people to understand what's the way with that. Can we really do that? Or if we are not on the state of a really high level?
Everybody is capable of doing it. That because that is born with us. This is
to reach that state.
Exactly. This is our birthright. Freedom is our birthright. Love is our birthright. And the problem with people struggling with the matrix is it basically lies in the nature of men. Okay, so by nature we are not capable of producing violence. We are not capable of killing. We are not capable of fear. And the matrix basically surviving on these emotions. So it's that divine tension that actually is created is the moment when the person is starting to wake up. Okay, so when you realize your true reality, right, that you are benign, sensing, feeling human being, that is basically the moment when the environment is set for you to unbound yourself or pluck yourself out of that system.
Yes, but Zoran, in this case, for example, if you have a person, and there are many of us like that, like, okay, I'm not on that high level. I'm not really sure about what is I, or maybe I can, touch that a little bit, but I'm pissed off with my job, with all that crazy things, with the life today, with the, like everybody's controlling you, and what I can do in that, what people can do in that case, because they're still not on that level, they're not mature enough for the things you said. But what we can do in that case?
Stop subscribing to it. Okay, stop feeding it.
How?
Well,
for example?
For example, stop watching the news and believing that is the truth. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Stop comparing yourself with others. Stop talking about your past. Stop seeking recognition for yourself from others. Stop defending your truth. Stop
being violent.
Start being kind. Go back to your nature. Your nature is kindness, compassion, love, freedom, prosperity. That is your nature,
There is one
also. Our nature is not wars and killings and everything that's been fed to us today as a reality, and then the people are increasingly being desensitized. Okay, so when the matrix creates a situation for human reaction, humanity, they people, they enslave themselves, and then they are asking the solution from the actual perpetrator, you know, which is real irony in this whole thing, you know. So the ones who are creating the wars are the ones who are talking about the peace deals. They're the same people who are producing arms and weapons and destroying other people's lives, okay? But then people are giving them all their power to decide about their fate, you know, which is incredible. So I'll give you one example. What is the king if population runs away from the king? What is the king if there's no population in his kingdom? What happens with him, right?
He's not king anymore.
He's not king anymore, right? So you don't need to do any action. No action is required here. Every action will produce reaction, and you will be hooked into matrix again. Even though some people, they go and fight the wars for, let's say, for some righteous reasons, you know. There's always this division, good guys and bad guys, right? Unsubscribe from that, you know, completely. Stop subscribing to that. Just don't feed it anymore, you know. Imagine if every person in this world would stop being soldier and policeman and some control freak, you know, then everything would cease to run the way it is now, you know. So because the matrix, one of the primary emotion of the matrix is fear, and that fear is not our fear. It is the fear that's is implanted into us. It's projected into us. Okay. So that's why you have all these controlling methods, you know, like you have now attempts to introduce digital ID and you know, facial recognition or fingerprints. That's outdated technology, you know. They now have ability to map the density of your body, because every body is different. So with your Wi-Fi routers that are operating in everybody's home, they get an output back to the central system with the imprinted image of your body's density, and that becomes your ID. So they know no matter where you are, they can recognize you by your identity, you know, voice recognition, all these things. And then you ask yourself, who needs this? You know, well, why do you need to control, you know, 99.9% innocent people? Why do you need to do that? You know, so the fear is not ours; it is theirs. So the matrix is hanging, hanging on the power by the fingernails, literally, right? And there's only one point, and there's the point of realization that the power is in me, right? So imagine if all humanity would arrive at that level, then the matrix would cease to exist, you know. So really, the presented or perceived hell and paradise, they're not physical places, you know. They are states of your mind.
Yes. And well, I figured out that the paradise is actually on the earth. People just can't see that. For example, because I'm walking dog almost every day, and Milo is not dog.
It's Milo.
It's Milo. And then I'm just watching around, and every time I am, you know, like I just can't explain how beautiful everything is here. Nature is amazing. But it's not only because that this nature here is amazing, because we were traveling through Australia. We went from the eastern side to the Western Australia by car. So there is a plenty of nothing there. So it's a small bush, and if you go out, it's a hard one. So you can hurt yourself if you touch it. You probably can't walk there barefoot because you can hurt yourself. But it's such an amazing beauty there. Like while we were driving there, I didn't, I didn't use phone. I was just, because I thought if I, if I take a phone and use it for some time, then I will miss so many things. And things were like similar when we were going in the bush. But it's again beauty. It's a different beauty, but it's a amazing beauty. And also, I talked to Zoran like a few days back. I was thinking, what is the best experience here actually in Australia for this almost 5 years? And it's actually that trip from eastern side to western.
To western side, yeah.
It's a beautiful. And then I figured out, yeah, paradise is here. But we don't recognize it.
Exactly. People are totally oblivious because, as I said at the beginning, humanity is reduced to the spectator. You see, they are, through their phones and screens, they are looking at the life that's being lived. They are not living their lives, and this is how the change happens. People have to start living the life, right? Not perceived reality. Everything is being played out and served as a finished product on these little screens, and people spend hours and hours, particularly a young generation today, they're totally oblivious of what you are saying, that life is everywhere, surrounded, and it's beauty of the life. So when you mentioned walking Milo every morning and enjoying the nature, you see the nature, it lives in this kind of discipline that is inherent in every living thing. And nature is always self-regulating and it's in balance, So in nature, there is no such thing as outer matrix, right? But you see human or matrix is trying to control everything. It's trying to control population, and now it's trying to control the weather. We have geoengineering. I mean, birds in trees. They already know that that's actually been going on for a number of years and so on. So when you live your nature, when you're in the nature and live your nature, then you become one with the universe, And this is how that state of mind, paradise, becomes reality.
Beautiful.
So a lot of people, they think that they need to fight, or they need to rebel, they need to do this, that, and the other. And there's a lot of people out there that are calling themselves awakened. It's all it's the word, it's flavor of the month. Everybody's using that word. Even the word matrix. And so on. But you really need to know the true meaning of it and what needs to be done to overcome it, right? You cannot escape it by living in it and feeding it or fighting it, because they are the properties of matrix. Every oppression, every suppression, every fight, every resistance is the actual nature of the matrix. That's not the nature of the human. So just unsubscribe from that system and be yourself, be the truth in you, and live your truth. And your truth is love, kindness, compassion, nature. Be you and nothing but you.
Yeah, beautiful. Let me check if there are any Questions?
So it is really acting without doing, So when you stop subscribing to all these things that are on the outside, that are presented as a reality, start questioning yourself, So that will lead you out of the matrix, So you have to be, and then what do you do with this now that you realize that's how it is? What do? You go back in the system to change the system. Okay, so you have to live in the system so that we can change the system, and that will make it better for everybody, and even for the matrix itself. Matrix will benefit from freedom of the humanity. Because let's say, if you imagine that matrix is some sort of living entity, which can probably be described like that, it seeks existence through linear time, and it's creating spaces and matter to provoke our reactions and feed with our emotional energy. So once when you free yourself, when you free the matrix will stop fearing itself, right? And then the world will be at peace. And this is basically, I think, at the end of I don't know which Matrix movie that was, when the peace when they struck the peace deal between humans and machines. Do you remember that?
No.
That was the very last one. They struck a deal, right? And they were living parallel to each other, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So, but what happened was it required a lot of people to swallow that, I think, red pill. Okay, blue pill, I think, is for sleeping, but the red pill was to awaken. I think that's the red pill. If I messed up the colors, I apologize. But it required the whole bunch of people to awaken and realize that, and then in the end, what they did nothing. So every attempt to fight it resulted in wars and whatnot, which is not really our reality. Our reality is non-violence, in any aspect and element of your life.
Beautiful, Zoki. There is just one comment. This is so beautiful. Thank you, Bojana. I feel good.
Feel good.
Yeah, we can stay in silence for a minute. Just let's see how that looks like, huh? Yeah, I feel really good after this coffee, even though sometimes Moksha Coffee in English is, I'm not always comfortable because English is not my first language, but I just want to be, to give something to this world, and this is one of our ways to do that. So we can give a little bit more awareness through these Moksha Coffees. And that's why I'm so, that's why I'm so brave, and I go out and speak like publicly in English, which is huge thing, believe me. Do we want to say something for this?
I think a lot of people will ask, well, what do I do now? Okay, do nothing. To relinquish things, you need to fully own it, So go through your life, go through the full experience to the end. So there's no ifs and buts about it. And then you can relinquish it. And this is how you progress through life, okay? Not by suppressing yourself, but by opening yourself and experiencing things as per you. And as per you is your nature, your true nature is that you are benign, sensing, feeling, emotional human being. Okay, so you can't be anything else but that. Okay, so we're walking Milo this morning, and we're talking about what we've been through in last 5 years, and
Lo-
it wasn't easy going at all. But one thing that I always recognize, for example, at least I can say for myself, there's always been that constant line of stability, right? That doesn't mean that my life was peaceful, right? Life was happening to me, but there was always that constant awareness and knowingness of who I am.
There's also one constant and stable thing in my life. The name Zoran. That's the only thing which is really, I'm still not on his level.
I thought you were going to say moving the houses.
That was also something that we are now really good in that. Well, I want just to add something as well. So, when sometimes when you wake up, when somebody wake you up suddenly and you're, oh, what's going on? Or if somebody puts some like a bucket of water on you and you wake up. So it's not always pleasant.
No,
right?
you're going to be pissed off.
Yeah. So don't expect like flowers, it's a little bit painful. But I think once when you experience that, even though it's a little bit painful or more, or it depends, but you will not go back. Or at least you will stay there. You may not go further, but you will. I think it's not possible to go back if you come to that moment that you are, because then you can see.
Once when you
can't close your eyes
awaken from the dream, you realize the dream is not reality. Okay, so you see the dream for what it is, and you see the reality for what it is. And sometimes it's not actually not sometimes. In most cases, that awakening, process is not an easy one, okay? Because you start seeing through the illusion, right? You start seeing things the way they are, truly, not as fake reality, and that in itself can be very unpleasant, but that's the only way. It is the inevitable for everybody on this planet.
Yeah. Good. We are still with one comment.
Okay,
so
good. There are no questions.
No questions.
Okay, cool.
So we can actually we can finish this coffee today.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks we have a coffee for Balkan audience, and then in a month again on English. If you have some topics that you would like to share with us, that you would like us to talk about, please share with us, and we would go with that. If you have any questions, also you can send message through the social network, through Moksha, or through Zoran's private account, or through my private account. Doesn't matter. We will catch it around, and we will come back to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. See you, people. Thank you so much, and thank you, Zoran. I really enjoyed this.
And make sure that you take the red pill. I think it's red.
If it is not, then I don't know. Okay,
right.
bye.
And remember, the only way out is in.
In. Yes, the only way out is in.
Exit is actually in, going inwards. Okay. See you guys.